Red Bank High School Hall of Fame began in 2000. During this time, we have inducted 199 outstanding graduates who have distinguished themselves both in their personal and professional lives. These people have impacted our city, our state, our country, and many of them our world. As you will hear in their stories, they all have done many things to help their fellow men. We as the student body can learn from these individuals from firsthand what can accomplish from the education of Red Bank High School. To begin our program, we'll have the presentation of colors. The Cadet Colonel Samuel Turner will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be followed by the playing of our national anthem. Will you please stand?
Please join me in the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
House. Forward. March.
You may now be seated.
Our first inductee into the 2017 Red Bank Hall of Fame class is Mr. Wade Greene. Mr. Greene graduated from Red Bank High School in 1958. While attending Red Bank, Mr. Greene stated that his favorite memory of high school was his senior class trip to Washington, D.C. The trip was memorable not only because it was educational, but it enhanced his friendships with fellow classmates, and he still cherishes those friendships to this very day. Wade Greene attended David Lipscomb, then transferred to Tennessee Technological University after graduating from Red Bank High School, earning his Bachelor's of Science in Industrial Engineering. From 1963 to 1969, he was a proud member of the United States Air Force and served in the Strategic Air Command Division. During his time in the Air Force, Mr. Greene served as a captain, combat crew commander, and was a member of the 455th Strategic Missile Wing. In addition to his military service, though, Wade Greene has spent years volunteering his time helping abused children in need of a loving home. He has served as chairman of the child care committee of his church that places children who have been removed from their parents into a loving and caring environment. Wade Greene believes he wouldn't be the person that he is today without the positive influence his parents had on him. Mr. Greene states that his dad taught him the importance of integrity and hard work, and he attributes that to the success he has experienced in life. He believes that if you have a good work ethic, integrity, and that you respect others, students can be successful in whatever they set their mind to. Today we celebrate Wade Greene's hard work, his integrity, and his respect as we induct him into the Red Bank Hall of Fame. Mr. Wade Greene.
Boy, it's good to see all of you. I like those uniforms, by the way. I spent 6 years in the military, but I started my life in White Oak. Went to White Oak Elementary, and then Deer Red Bank High School. That equipped me to get into college, and I did graduate from college. As he said, as soon as that was over, Uncle Sam wanted me, so I went in the Air Force. Ended up in Strategic Air Command, and that's where I spent my time. But at the time, I received a promotion to captain. I became a combat crew commander, and that was quite an experience, because I was in charge of 10 nuclear missiles when I was on alert in the Launch Control Center. And at one time on alert, I had unintentionally had a problem. See, if you can imagine something similar to a James Bond movie, I had a panel with 10 rows of lights telling me what I needed to know about each one of those missiles. And there was one light on there I didn't want to see. I mean, it was amber. That means my missile was armed. Well, one day that happened. I got 10 amber lights across the board. So I had a situation. That's not that bad, but in an armed condition, it's possible for a spurious signal to send the missile into a launch countdown. So I would say that good military training, we trained and we trained and we trained. And we went into simulators and we were presented with all kinds of problems. And we're supposed to figure it out. And I was so thankful for that, because I did what I was trained to do. I made the missiles lay down and go back to sleep, so to speak. And it didn't bother me at the time. In later years, when I think back on that, yeah, that was a little scary maybe. Because if even one of my missiles took off, it was going to Russia. And you know what Russia would have done? They would have fired back. And that was during the Cold War. And we won the Cold War, by the way. And that was also during Vietnam. But everything that I've been through and I go back to this wonderful school that I went to. It was so great. And and the best friends I have are still out of that old class of 58. Some of them are here. Love you all, every one of you. And I'll tell you that some of the friends you're making right now, you will be friends with them 60 years now. That's almost 60 years ago, right? 58? Yeah, 1 year. And I had great teachers. It would be hard for me to say I had a favorite. I liked them all, really. They got me ready for college. I wasn't top of the class, didn't set the world on fire, but I had what I needed. A little hard work and dedication. And that's what y'all will need. I'll tell you, after my career at UPS in engineering, what I ran into in my working career more than anything, we got math teachers here. Make sure everybody understands percentages. That's one thing that I ran into that really needed to be understood by everybody, especially if you're in a math class. Get good knowledge of that. And get all the knowledge you can. You can't overfill your brain. I'm still putting stuff in my brain, but it may be because at my age some of it leaks out. So learn, enjoy it. This is a great place to do that. And I don't know the teachers here, but I know they're good ones. They gotta be. Thank you.
Our second inductee into the Red Bank Hall of Fame is Donnell C from the class of 1970. During his time at Red Bank, Mr. Elsie was involved in a number of extracurricular activities. He participated in the Optimist Beta Club, FCA, Letterman's Club, and was a member of the wrestling, football, cross country, and track teams. Mr. Elsie's best memory of high school was making friends and also winning the Most Pins Award in wrestling. Following graduation, Elsie attended the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga and earned his Bachelor of Science in Economics. Today, Mr. Elsie is an enrolled agent licensed by the United States Treasury Department to represent taxpayers for audits, collections, and appeals before all administered levels of the IRS. He has been practicing taxes, insurance, and representation for over 40 years. Mr. Elsie also owns Financial Management Network Incorporated. When Don Elsie is not working, he likes to spend his time giving back to the community. He has dedicated over 20 years of volunteering at Red Bank home football games. In addition, Mr. Elsie volunteers for the Sertoma Club, which is an organization that improves the quality of life today for those at risk or impacted by hearing loss through education and support. Don Elsie has an impressive list of awards throughout his professional career. Among his numerous accomplishments include being named the Outstanding Young Man of America, Who's Who Tennessee Business, Tennessee Chapter of the National Wrestling Hall of Fame, AAU National Wrestling Hall of Fame, AAU National Folk Style Official of the Year, and Sertoman of the Year. Elsie credits his success to his family, his wife Pat, and his high school wrestling coach, John Farr. It was Coach Farr in the sport of wrestling that taught him to never give up and that you can overcome obstacles when they are in your way. Please join me as we welcome Don Elsie into the Red Bank High School Hall of Fame.
It's a great honor to be here today. It's very humbling. When I came back in, emotional, because this is where it all started for me. I've been very fortunate that I'm in 2 National Hall of Fames, but this one today means so much more. I want to tell you what Red Bank High School means to me. It's the pride of being a Lion. And I want to congratulate the football team on a great season they're having. I wish them the best of luck tonight because we know we're going to win again. But one of the things that means a lot to me that I learned from was wrestling. Dr. John Ford was my wrestling coach and my history teacher, and I learned so much from him. He taught me that discipline, determination, drive, and sacrifice, you can be a winner. But the sport of wrestling also taught me that life is not fair. In my junior year, I was an undefeated wrestler. In the Christmas break, Dr. Ford would bring all the college wrestlers back in that wrestled at Red Bank that were now wrestling in college, and for 2 weeks they would pound on us. Unfortunately, during that time, I tore the ligaments and tendons in my shoulder. I was no longer able to wrestle my junior year. In the finals of the region, my senior year, I separated 2 ribs from my sternum. Went to the doctor and he said, "You're done." I told him, "I'm a senior. Give me something for pain, wrap me up. I don't care what you do, but I'm going to wrestle in the state tournament next week." I wrestled in the state tournament, placing 3rd. The sad part was the guy that won the state, I had pinned that year. Life's not fair. But those things prepared me for something later in life, another setback. Life does not always go the way you plan it. In my senior year of pharmacy school, I was doing an internship. I was having trouble hearing the doctors over the phone calling prescriptions. So I went and had my hearing checked. I had a severe hearing loss. So now I'm not going to be a pharmacist. Life's not fair. So I went back to school, got a degree in business, became an enrolled agent, started my own business, went into work with my father. But I learned something. You don't ever give up because life's not fair. I was very fortunate this past weekend. I was in Iowa, and I met Nick Ackerman. Nick is the only Division III national wrestling champ to ever win the Hodge Award. The Hodge Award is like the Heisman in football. It's given to the most outstanding wrestler in the country. For Nick to win this award, in his conference championship, he had to beat at least one guy that he's never beaten, because only the top 2 went to the NCAAs. And 2 guys he'd never beaten in his career. Fortunately, he was able to beat one and get to the finals. He lost in the finals. He gets to the NCAAs, and he's fortunate to get to the finals of the NCAAs. The guy he will wrestle in the final is the defending national champion. He is 63-0, not have losing a match. Nick wins. But you say, what's so great about that? Nick did this because he had no feet. At the age of 5, both his legs were amputated at the knees because he had meningitis, and that's the only way to save his life. And 2 things he told us at this meeting was that I was very lucky. I had very unsympathetic parents. They taught me that growing up, I was no different from anybody else, and that I don't whine, I don't make excuses, I work harder. He also said that whining and complaining is a waste of time, and so is making excuses. So I tell you today, life's not fair, and it may not go the way you plan. Don't whine, don't make excuses, work harder, and you can be successful. Thank you.
Our 3rd inductee into the Red Bank Hall of Fame is Miss Rhonda Thurman. Miss Thurman is a proud graduate from Red Bank High School class of 1974, where she was a member of the girls' basketball team. It was playing for Coach Hutch Lewis that she remembers most when reflecting on her time in high school. Ms. Thurman states that she loved every aspect of being a member of the Lionettes basketball team, including the hot summer basketball camps, the wind sprints, jumping rope, playing jokes on coaches Lewis and Ingram, and of course, being teammates with girls that had become her lifelong friends. Rhonda Thurman attended Cleveland State and Highland Beauty School after graduating from Red Bank High School. For the past 41 years, Ms. Thurman has been employed as a hairdresser. In addition, she served as a school board representative for District 1 since 2004. In addition to serving on the Hamilton County School Board, Rhonda Thurman has also been recognized as the PTA Volunteer of the Year at Wallace Smith Elementary and received the Tough Tusk Award from the Hamilton County Republican Party. For the past 6 years, Ms. Thurman has volunteered at Wallace Smith Elementary every Wednesday and serves on the Chairman Christian Education Committee at the Red Bank Presbyterian Church. Her mother, Thelma Potter, has had the greatest impact and influence on her life, according to Ms. Thurman. It was her mother that instilled in her and her siblings the self-confidence to get things done when nobody else is willing to. Her mother also taught Ms. Thurman that her dreams and thoughts are just as important as anyone else's, and to always work hard, love our country, and be a dependable and productive member of society. In addition to her mother, Ms. Thurman also attributes her success to the Chester Lewis family for teaching her the value of you only deserve what you are willing to work for mentality. Her father, Wesley Skiles, for giving her a sense of humor and showing her how to enjoy life. Her stepfather, Paul Potter, and his love of sports that has rubbed off on her entire family. And grandmother, Gladys Skiles, who showed her the meaning of faith through her life even after tragically losing a husband and suffering the death of 2 children. Finally, her neighbor and go-to person, Lyda Landreth, who has been a lifelong friend and showed her that there is nothing you can do if you use common sense. Please join me as we welcome Rhonda Thurman as the newest inductee into the Red Bank High School Hall of Fame.
Well, I'm going to be very brief because most of you have already heard me say a whole lot more than you wanted to hear since 2004. So I'm going to be real quick, but I just want to recognize my mom is here, one of my brothers, my husband, and if I missed anybody else, I'm sorry. But I tell you what, I was very impressed with the ROTC coming in. My goodness, they made you feel like royalty. They did a great job, and I appreciate it. And it's hard to believe that 43 years ago I was sitting where you are now. I never imagined I would be inducted into the Red Bank Hall of Fame, and neither did any of my teachers, I can tell you that now. Some of the best memories of my life were made right here at Red Bank High School. I must admit that the hardest thing I was asked to do for this celebration was to provide a picture. The reason it was so hard for me is it was hard for me to find one without holding a placard with numbers across the bottom of it. I didn't think that would be appropriate, but I did manage to find one. Seriously, I just want to offer you seniors a little bit of advice. Make wise choices, because bad choices will last you a lifetime. Cherish your friends, because they will last a lifetime. Embrace all the educational opportunities offered here at Red Bank High School, because knowledge will last you a lifetime. Don't be afraid to venture out and do things that you never thought were possible. Teachers at Red Bank High School taught me that. But I also want to thank you very much for this honor, because it is indeed an honor, and I am humbled, and I thank you. Thank you very much.
Class of 1990 graduate Chris Phillips is our fourth inductee into the Red Bank Hall of Fame. Mr. Phillips fondly remembers his time at Red Bank and his favorite memory of being a member of the baseball team and making it all the way to the state sectionals during his junior year. Mr. Phillips remembers how supportive the school and community were when it came to sports during his entire high school career. He loved attending all sporting events and cheering on his beloved Lions, and he still cheers them on to this day. Mr. Phillips would attend the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga and earned his bachelor's degree. After college, Mr. Phillips devoted his time to helping out children in need. He was a juvenile case manager that worked with children who were in state custody. Currently, Mr. Phillips is a proud member of the Chattanooga Police Department. There he has served his community for the past 21 years. As a police officer, Mr. Phillips has worked as a patrolman, investigator for armed robberies and burglaries, and now serves as sergeant in patrol. Any student who has played youth sports in the Red Bank community will recognize Mr. Phillips, as he has given countless hours volunteering at local youth sports organizations over the past 17 years. He has served on the board of directors for the Red Bank Dixie Youth, volunteered as an assistant softball coach for Sail Creek Middle and High School, recently served as the head coach for Red Bank Middle School softball team. Currently, Mr. Phillips is a volunteer coach for his kids' recreational travel teams in baseball and softball. Chris Phillips states that he was very fortunate that his parents and grandparents were such great role models for him growing up. They taught him how to be a good husband and father and always supported him with whatever he did in life. Mr. Phillips says that he couldn't be successful without his lovely wife Heather by his side. She has always supported him during his professional career despite the risks of him being a police officer. In addition, they coached together for several years, but she gave it up to take care of their children while he continued to coach and impact young adolescent lives in the Red Bank community. Join me as we welcome Chris Phillips into the Red Bank Hall of Fame.
Appreciate it. I'll be short. It's a great honor to be recognized. From all the years of volunteer work, I've never asked for recognition or, to be honored like this. First of all, thanks to my family for allowing me the time to spend the time away from them to do what I enjoy doing. Of all the years that I've done it, I've always enjoyed doing it, and that's the main reason I've done it. And to give the kids a great place to play and a place they remember and good facilities to play on. Because I always remember the years of growing up playing Dixie Youth baseball and also playing high school ball. Many great memories. Enjoyed my time here at the high school, being involved. One suggestion I can give is just be involved with the school, make it a better place, make a community a better place. Every sport, every activity needs volunteers, so find what time you can find to volunteer to help out. But it's a great honor to be recognized. Every time I come in these hallways, I look at the plaques hanging on the wall and read of all the members that have already been inducted ahead of me. But it's a great honor to be out there among mentors, former teachers, classmates, and friends. Thank you.
Pierre Pinkerton graduated Red Bank High School in 1999 and is our next inductee into the Red Bank High School Hall of Fame. Mr. Pinkerton is quick to point out that his favorite memories in high school are the relationships that he built with his teachers, coaches, and guidance counselors. They all encouraged him to dream big and gave him the confidence to pursue higher ideals. Whether it was Mrs. Pam Boaz and her tough-as-nails approach to guide him to make better decisions, Miss Betty Woomer urging him to go to college, Mr. David Kindiger for believing in him and telling him he was good enough to attend a private university, or coaches Scott Cook, Ken Thomas, and David Haskins for being instrumental in building him into the man he is today. These relationships will always be special to Pierre Pinkerton. With the help of Mr. Kindiger, Mr. Pinkerton attended Hendrix College after high school and graduated with a degree in economics and business. It was at Hendrix where he was awarded a 4-year trustee scholarship. Mr. Pinkerton also led her in basketball at Hendrix all 4 years he attended. Pinkerton would go on to earn his MBA in finance from the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. While at UTC, Pinkerton received a WRCB TV scholarship. After college, Pinkerton worked for the Chattanooga Hotel in the accounting office before taking a job at SunTrust Bank working as a commercial banking associate. After SunTrust, he went to work for a local economic and community development organization, Hope for the Inner City, as an operations director. He has also worked for the Chattanooga Neighborhood Association as a small business lender and for the Urban League of Greater Chattanooga as the chief financial officer. Currently, Mr. Pinkerton is a self-employed small business consultant that specializes in tax preparation, bookkeeping, and financing. Mr. Pinkerton has found time to volunteer at various organizations that focus on helping children and young adults. He has given his time to Junior Achievement, United Way of Greater Chattanooga, the Chattanooga Chamber of Commerce, Urban League of Greater Chattanooga, Chattanooga Young Life, New City Fellowship, Bible in the Schools, and Tres Dias of Southeast Tennessee. Without hesitation, Pierre Pinkerton attributes his mother to his success. Her tenacious work ethic and ever-present eye of discipline and correction have helped mold him into the man he is today. Growing up, there were times she would have to work 2 or 3 jobs just to make ends meet and ensure that he and his siblings would have everything they needed. He said that beyond a shadow of a doubt, his mother was and remains the model of successes in life. Please join me as we welcome Mr. Pierre Pinkerton as the newest member of the Red Bank High School Hall of Fame.
All right. Whew. Wow, Red Bank. Never thought I'd step foot in this place again. Not to say I didn't want to, but it definitely feels good to be back home. Man, you read all those accolades. I'm like, who is that guy? Must be me. I didn't have anything prepared, and honestly, I thought it would just be optional just to say a few words, and I was just going to be quiet and just kind of smile and clap, drink some coffee and leave, but I would be doing this opportunity a disservice if I did that, and here's the reason why. Kind of like the previous inductees have kind of alluded to, and I'll hit on a little bit and I'll go sit down and get out of the way, but I think an honor like this, or I believe an honor like this, really is reflective of the investment of time that various individuals, through God's grace, that He's placed along in my path in life to make me who I am. Honestly, I was a skinny kid from East Chattanooga off of City Coast. Some of you might know where that is. I grew up in a single-parent household where my mother pretty much dedicated her life to making sure that myself and my younger brother and my older sister had opportunities and wasn't looked at any differently than anybody else. So I wish she could have been here to see this, because this is really reflective of her. But also, too, a lot of the individuals that the gentleman just mentioned. Coming in, maybe some of you guys can identify with this. I was an introvert. I was kind of one of those kids that liked to stay in the back of the classroom, kind of keep my head down and just leave and do what I wanted to do. But with certain individuals, whether it was Miss Pam Boaz, she was my 9th grade English teacher, and she encouraged me to sit in the front of the classroom. She encouraged me to look people in the eye. She encouraged me to be firm in a handshake. It was certain individuals like David Haskins. Now, I'm not trying to cry, man. Can't look at that guy. Coach David Haskins, my 9th grade year, when I wanted to play basketball so bad, and I was down there playing in the old gym, and he gave me an opportunity to play on his 9th grade basketball team. And eventually with Coach Scott Cook, we had some pretty good teams back in the late 90s, but yet and still he found an opportunity for somebody like me to come alongside and not only learn the skills to play basketball, but also the skills of life, and just watching him and how he interacted with his wife and his family, as well as David too. And also Coach Ken Thomas, the same thing. These guys dedicated their lives. They gave us rides. At times when we didn't have food to eat, these guys, they would invest and make that happen. So And in closing, I'd just like to say, for you guys that are just sitting in these stands and was like, man, we got to go to this ceremony today, they're making us, it's a part of school. If you're going to take anything away from this ceremony, take away this. 4 years, a lot can happen in a 4-year span in terms of your development as people, your development as students, and that will set you on for your course in life. Get outside of yourself. Learn to serve others more than you serve your own self. Be quick to forgive, and get out there and do something different. Develop your skill sets. Be great. Thanks.
I'm not as tall. Joseph Horton is our 6th inductee into the Red Bank Hall of Fame. Mr. Horton graduated from Red Bank High School in 2003. When asked about his favorite memory from high school, Mr. Horton explained that the big moments stand out to him, such as traveling with a band to see Red Bank football team win the state championship in the snow in 2000. However, his favorite memories were the day-to-day memories with good friends that he fondly remembers the most. Joseph Horton attended Freed-Hardeman University after high school and received a Bachelor of Science in Bible and Communication in 2007. When he was a senior in college, Mr. Horton was selected to be the student chapel speaker at the Freed-Hardeman lectureships and was a nominee for Mr. Freed-Hardeman University. In 2016, Mr. Horton earned his Master of Divinity degree from Harding School of Theology. Joseph Horton married Lauren Lusk in 2007, and together they moved to Winchester, Tennessee. It was there that Horton began serving for the Winchester Church of Christ as a youth minister. In 2015, Mr. Horton stepped into the role of preacher for the Winchester Church of Christ and continues to serve in that role today. In addition to his church duties, Mr. Horton volunteers with the Franklin County Prevention Coalition, which brings people and organizations together to reduce youth substance abuse and violence in the Franklin County area. Mr. Horton also serves on the President's Alumni Cabinet for Freed-Hardeman University. Joseph Horton states that there have been many positive influences in his life. His wife, Lauren, his parents, Joey and Teresa Horton, grandparents, Joe and Nadia Horton, and Roy and Mary Parham, ministers, Tommy Stone and Steve Lusk, mentors, David Baker, Chuck Morris, and the elders at his current church, and the excellent teachers he had at Red Bank High School, Pam Boaz, Linda Baran, George Hamrick, Nancy Crane, Rob Ware, and Betty Woomer. Mr. Horton attributes many factors to his successes so far in life. Horton believes that a stable and loving family, a challenging education, his faith-based training and experiences, the nurturing church families he has been involved with, and the grace of God all deserve credit for where he is today. Please join me as we welcome Mr. Joseph Horton into the Red Bank Hall of Fame.
It's really special to be here. There's a lot of special people in this room. I look out and see some beloved teachers, Miss Baran and Coach Thurman and Miss Woomer and Miss Weaver down there, who kept this school running for decades. And I think people thought maybe the whole thing would fall apart when she finally retired. And then Coach Cook and Coach Greer and my youth ministers here and my whole family. I didn't really tell many people that I was going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, but of the few that I did tell, two of them said, "What?" And one of those was from my own family, and so that was a real boost to the ego. But I will admit, I think it's a good question. I really do feel flattered and appreciative, but yet undeserving. of this honor. This Hall of Fame began when I was in school, and the inductees were like NASA astronauts and speechwriters for presidents and distinguished members of the U.S. military and people from the entertainment industry and star athletes and on and on. And I have classmates who have moved into impressive careers and lifestyles, doctors, educators, businessmen and women. I'm thinking of a culinary tour guide who lives in China, a smart as a whip environmentalist in Atlanta, and on and on. But me, I'm just a preacher from small town Tennessee. So compared to the accomplishments of those previously inducted, all the plaques hanging out in the hallway, and of my own classmates, I feel a little bit unworthy standing here and being honored in this way. But I am deeply grateful. And I believe my Christian faith teaches me what to do with this honor. Now, y'all didn't think you were going to induct a preacher without getting a little sermon, right? My faith teaches me when you receive a good gift, you live in a way as to deserve that gift. By your lifestyle, you prove to the one who gave you the gift how grateful you are for it. You behave in ways that are worthy of the honor. I'm, of course, thinking about my Heavenly Father. God has been very generous with me. And case in point, I look out and see my family. My wife and my 3 children, my parents, my in-laws. My 88-year-old granddad is sitting out there today, and he has been at every milestone in my life. And here I am, a grown man, a married father of 3, and my granddad still in the audience, just like he's always been. What a gift. What a blessing from God. God has been very good to me, and I want to live in a manner worthy of his generosity. But on this occasion, I'm also thinking of the Hall of Fame committee. They have generously selected me to be an inductee, and I'm grateful. And I want to prove by my life that I'm worthy of such an honor, that I belong on that wall in the Hall of Fame. I know there are some students in the audience today, and you've been given a raw deal in life. You've been dealt a bad hand. Maybe you have a physical or a mental handicap that holds you back. Maybe you've been born into a family that struggles financially, and week by week it's about survival. It's about getting enough money to put food on the table. Maybe you have been neglected, or worse, abused by somebody who was supposed to care for you. I'm not here today to dismiss any of that stuff. I'm not saying it's significant. I'm not making light of it. It's not fair what some of you have been through. What I am saying to you today is even if your life is a total wreck, if you look hard enough and if you look long enough, you will find blessings for which to be thankful. In this school, among your teachers, in your family, in your friends, just by virtue of living in this country, you will find blessings from the hand of God. So look for those blessings, look for those gifts, no matter how small. Name them, thank God for them, express gratitude to those who give you the ability to enjoy them. When I received that Hall of Fame letter, just like the other inductees, I'm sure it said the same thing. It said, "Congratulations again on a life well lived." And I thought that was kind of funny because I'm just a 32-year-old guy. And I thought, well, it's like, I'm done. I can just coast the rest of the way, just put it on cruise control. And I thought, it's really nice, but maybe they should have waited a few years to make sure I didn't screw up big time. And because I don't want my plaque to be ripped off the wall. I don't want this to be revoked. But at 32, I hope and I pray that my life has not yet been fully lived, as the letters seem to say. But in the remainder of my days, however many there may be, I want to live with gratitude and thanksgiving for every gift I've received. And today, I get to add another gift to that list. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you, and God bless you.
At this time, I would like to introduce a special guest speaker. Jeff Weathers graduated from Red Bank in 1983. After graduation, he attended the Air Force Academy, where he earned a Bachelor of Science degree. From there, he served in the Air Force for 20 years as an F-16 pilot and retired as a lieutenant colonel. He is currently a captain with Southwest Airlines. Jeff is already a member of the Red Bank High School Hall of Fame and is with us today to make a special presentation. Please join me as we welcome Mr. Jeff Weathers back to Red Bank.
Thank you for allowing me to be here. It's truly an honor. And congratulations to the inductees. It's quite impressive. Donnie, I don't know if you remember, but you ref some of my wrestling matches here at Red Bank Junior High School 40 years ago. It's truly an honor to be here. If you're on the football team, will you please raise your hand, football players? I want to thank you for beating Hickson High School last week. We didn't like Hickson High School when I was here. So any season where you beat Hickson is a successful season. I know you got a big game tonight at Sweetwater. I don't know a whole lot about them, but if it helps, I don't like them either. Anyway, congratulations on your successful season and good luck for the rest of the year. Like I said, it's an honor to be here. I've gotten to do a lot of cool things in my life, and it's because of the opportunities that the teachers and administrators did here at Red Bank High School. I'm here to induct your next inductee, and he doesn't know that he's being inducted, although I think he probably has a clue by now. I've known him all my life. He was a class ahead of me. We grew up together, and we were best friends. His history at Red Bank started long before he even attended school. See, my father was the head football coach here for 28 years. And he started coaching here when I was a little kid, so he would bring us down here to the school on his off days, like on the weekends and in the summertime. And I think we knew every square inch of that old building back on Dayton Boulevard. We would play in the gym, we'd play out on the field, play hide and seek, some really, really good memories. But it wasn't all good memories because he put us to work too. I remember picking up rocks on the field, inside, cutting grass. We would come in on Saturday mornings and clean up the locker room after a football game, gather up sweaty jerseys and football pants and take them over to the laundromat. I remember one particularly tough afternoon in the summertime where he had us cut weeds underneath the bleachers, and both of us had a really nasty case of poison ivy when it was done. So his history at Red Bank High School started long before he attended here. While he attended high school, he was a proud member of both the football and wrestling teams. He was also in JROTC for 3 years. I think if you asked him his best memory, he would say his overtime victory in the semifinals of the region wrestling tournament that sent him to the state. After graduation, he proudly served in the United States Air Force from 1985 to 1989. He was stationed at Hurlburt Field in Florida and Schusterberg Air Base in the Netherlands. That was no easy task to be stationed in Europe during the Cold War. After serving in the military, he attended the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga and earned a bachelor's degree of science. He did this while running his own landscape business to support his 2 brand new children. He would go on to obtain a Master's of Arts with a major in instructional leadership at Tennessee Tech. He began his career in education at Ray County, where he taught and coached wrestling for 2 years. He moved on to the Ottawa community, where he taught and coached wrestling for 13 years before becoming the Dean of Students at Ottawa High School in 2014. During his time as the Ottawa wrestling coach, he was named as the 2007 TSSAA Wrestling Coach of the Year. And that was because he guided an unnamed program to a second-place finish in the state duels in 2007. I was at that tournament, and I spoke to a good friend of his, Danny Gilbert. Danny recently retired as the principal at Soddy Daisy. Danny was at Ottawa at the time, and he said to me, and I quote, "We're so happy to have him here. He's the most organized person I've ever met, and really knows coaching. He has a way of getting the best out of his kids. He has been fortunate to be surrounded by his loving family, his wife of 14 years, Michelle, and the 6 children that they share. Yes, I said 6. Louis, Chris, Justin, Caitlin, Reagan, and Haley. I like to call them the Brady Bunch. His nephew Nick is also with us here today. If you asked him what his greatest accomplishment was, what he's most proud of, he would point straight to his kids. He was blessed, just like I was, to have outstanding teachers at Red Bank. If you asked him who he remembers as being a positive influence, he'd say Coach Weathers, Coach Runyon, Mrs. Roberts, Mr. Bishop, and he loved to raise the flag every morning with Mr. Ritchie. If you asked him who had the greatest influence on his life, I know he would say his mom and dad. They taught him a strong work ethic and a passion for excellence. I know this because they are my mom and dad as well. In 2016, he was promoted to assistant principal and returned home to Red Bank, the community he grew up and loved so dearly. Please join me in congratulating your assistant principal and my big brother and best friend, Wendell Weathers.
Well, this is definitely not fair. Not fair at all. I'm very, very well caught off guard. I will say that anybody that's been in my office knows for a fact that I am not the most organized person. But I'll take that from Danny Gilbert. I always look at that wall out here. But it's not the wall. It's so many people that need to be on that wall far before me. And I'm a little embarrassed. But I love Red Bank High School. When my dad was coaching here, even well after I graduated, I never could take Red Bank High School off of my mind. So before I get choked up anymore, y'all really want to thank you. So, thank you.
Congratulations to the 2017 Red Bank High School Hall of Fame inductees. You have truly inspired all of us with your outstanding achievements and contributions to our school and community. H.L. Mencken said, "You can't do anything about the length of your life, but you can do something about its width and depth." All of our inductees exemplify this approach to life. I also want to thank our student body for the attention and respect you have given the inductees this morning. It's a long time to remain focused, and your behavior speaks highly of your collective character. One of Red Bank's taglines is "Got Tradition," and I believe that the Hall of Fame is one of our best. It was established for a twofold purpose. The first was to recognize our outstanding alumni. But secondly, and most importantly, was to provide students with real-world examples of what you can accomplish starting right here at Red Bank High School. Students, over these 4 years, you are building the foundation from which you can launch your purpose and leave your mark. I know that one day we will have inductees on this stage from the classes of 2018, 2019, 2020, and 2021. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Shikhar Baheti, Senior Class Vice President. I want to thank you all for coming today. I especially want to thank our inductees and congratulate them for their many accomplishments. Your stories of success have been a source for inspiration for us. As we prepare to step into our future, these are examples and lessons from which we can learn much. At this time, I would ask you to please stand as the Red Bank High School Concert Band plays our altar. My turn.
Guests and inductees, we will have a reception in the hub, formerly known as the library, and students, you may return to second block. Thank you.